In this lesson, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting complex numbers. And this isn't too difficult, so this video won't be too long. So we'll start with just a couple of basic complex numbers like 2 plus 3i and 4 minus 5i. Well, to add these together, all you do is you add the real numbers together, the 2 and the 4, and then you add the two imaginary numbers together. So we know that 2 plus 4 is 6, and then if you take 3i minus 5i, you'll get minus 2i. Now I wrote it as 3 minus 5 times I, but that's the same thing. So 3i minus 5i gives me minus 2i, and so you get 6 minus 2i. Now on these I need to simplify the radicals first. So let's take this square root of 75 and write that as square root of 25 times 3. Let's write square root of negative 49 as I times the square root of 49. Let's write square root of 27 as 9 times 3. And then let's write square root of negative 25 as I times square root of 25. Now let's continue simplifying this radical. So if I take the square root of 25 out of here, I get 5, and then the 3 stays inside. So I get 5 times square root of 3. And then the square root of 49 is 7, so this would just be 7 times I. And now remember, we got to distribute this negative, so be careful here. So the square root of 9 is 3, so this would be 3 times the square root of 3, but I have to distribute the negative, so it's minus 3 square root of 3. And then this, the square root of 25 is 5, so I have minus 5i, but if I distribute the negative, that's going to make it a plus 5i. And now you just combine 5 square root of 3 with minus 3 square root of 3, and that gives you 2 square root of 3. And then you also combine the 7i with the 5i, and you get 12i. Now on this one, I actually have 3 complex numbers. So I've got 5 minus 3i, minus the complex number 2 minus 7i, and then plus the complex number 5i. So let's remove our parentheses. Here we can just write down the 5 minus 3i. Here when we remove the parentheses, we have to distribute the negative. So we have a minus 2, and then a minus times negative 7i would give me a plus 7i, and then I'll just bring the 5i down. Now notice that I have a 5 here and a minus 2 here, so that's the real part. So 5 minus 2 gives me 3. And then notice I have a minus 3i here, plus 7i here, and a plus 5i here. So if I combine these 3 numbers, minus 3i plus 7i would be 4i, and then 4i plus 5i would give me 9i. So that would give me 9i for the imaginary portion of that complex number. Okay, now here, again I need to simplify the radical. So here square root of 4 is 2. And we know that by now we can do this in one step. The square root of negative 9 would just be 3i. And then here I have minus the square root of negative 25, which would be just minus 5i. And then in the parentheses here, I just have 3, and the square root of negative 16 would be 4i, so that'd be 3 minus 4i. Now I need to distribute this minus through, so that's going to make that a minus 3, and it'll make this a plus 4i. Now, again, I have a 2 here and a minus 3 here that I can combine, and that'll give me 2 minus 3, which is negative 1. And then I have a minus 3i, a minus 5i, and a plus 4i. And so if I combine those, minus 3i minus 5i is minus 8i, and then plus 4i gives me minus 4i. So the answer there is just minus 1 minus 4i. Okay, the next video is going to be over multiplication of complex numbers.